What's up, guys? It's me Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Gennady Golovkin, aka Triple G, versus Kamil Szeremeta, which will be a 12-rounder for the IBF Middleweight World Championship. And this fight will be Friday, December 18th, from the Seminole Hard Rock Casino and Hotel in Hollywood, Florida. And this fight will be broadcasted in DAZN in the United States and at Sky Sports abroad. And again, both fighters, Triple G, fighting out of Karaganda, Kazakhstan, has an excellent record of 40 wins, 1 defeat with 1 draw, and 35 big wins coming by way of knockout. Triple G is currently ranked number 2 by BoxRec and is ranked highly pound for pound by BoxRec. He first started off winning the interim WBA middleweight world title against Milton Nunes, then upgrading to the world title against Nilson Julio Tapia, then defended that WBA title so many times, getting all these knockout wins against Kasim Ayuna, La Juan Simon, Makoto Fujigami, Grzegorz Proska, which was the last Polish fighter he is fighting, and now he's fighting another one on Friday. He also has that dominant win against Gabe Rosado, Nobuhiro Ishida, Matt Macklin, Curtis Stevens. I was actually at that fight. He also has a KO win against Aduma Osumani. Also to Daniel Geale, I was at that fight as well. He also has a KO win against Marco Antonio Rubio, where he did add the interim WBC middleweight world title to his accolades. He also has a 11th round KO win against Martin Murray, Willie Monroe Jr. as well. And he knocked out David Lemieux in 6 rounds. I was at that fight at Madison Square Garden. The energy was excellent. Crowd was chanting Triple G, including myself. I'm a Triple G fan. He's my favorite fighter. I've been to many of his fights. And he's just a very likable guy, and he's just a fan favorite. But he also added the IBF middleweight world title, if I did not mention that. At the time, he had the interim WBC, WBA, and the IBF. Then he beat Dominic Wade after that Lemieux fight. Then he went to England to take on the welterweight champion, Kell Brook. Knocked him out after a couple rounds. I believe it was the 5th round where the corner threw in the towel after Triple G, I believe, busted his orbital bone. Then he got a scarily close decision win to Daniel Jacobs. That fight was very close. I believe it was in March of 2018. Triple G, he was on, I believe it was a 23-fight KO streak with many title defenses. And then Daniel Jacobs, he got dropped early on, but then he came back and fought very well. It was very close in the scorecards, but I thought Triple G won that fight. Very close, though, maybe by like 2 points. But then after that Daniel Jacobs fight, he took on Canelo Alvarez. And as most of you know, that first fight was totally awful scorecards. 2 of the judges, I believe, one of them had it a draw. The other one had it close for Triple G. The other one had Adelaide Bird. Yeah, I'll remember that scorecard for the rest of my life. 118-110 for Canelo. That was just disgusting there. Then right after the Canelo draw, he took on Vanes Maritosan, winning by easy knockout. Then, immediately after, he rematched Canelo, and as most of you know, he got robbed. In my opinion, I think Triple G won both fights. Comment down below what you thought about those Canelo fights, but I thought Triple G won both of them. But now, being that Triple G's 40 years old and didn't look too great, in my opinion, against Derevyanchenko, even though I thought he beat Derevyanchenko, I just don't think a third fight with Canelo would be too great for him. But mentioning that Sergey Derevyanchenko fight, before that, actually, he took on Steve Rolls, winning by KO in the 4th round. It was the first time you've ever seen Triple G in a while without a world title belt around his waist, but he did get the job done against Steve Rolls with a new trainer, actually. As most of you know, he was with Abel Sanchez his whole career. Then he took a huge turn and dropped him for Klitschko's old trainer. I can't remember his name. Comment down below. Triple G's trainer's name and Klitschko's former trainer. But after that Steve Rolls fight, he did look very good in that one. Then that Sergey Derevyanchenko fight was very scary for him. It was for the vacant IBF and IBO middleweight world title, but the IBO, in my opinion, is not relevant. But that Derevyanchenko fight, he dropped Derevyanchenko early in the 1st round. Then Derevyanchenko came back and seemingly hurt Triple G to the body with an array of hooks and uppercuts. And Triple G looked like he was on his way out in that fight, but then he came back and they fought a very hard, very good fight. I scored at 114-113 in favor of Triple G, but I know many people also scored it for Derevyanchenko. But moving on to his opponent, Kamil Szeremeta, fighting out of Poland, has a record of 21-0 with only 5 knockouts. He's currently ranked number 24 by BoxRec, so he's amongst the top 25. But when you look at his resume, all his decision wins are to guys who are unknown, but his knockout wins are actually to decent guys. He has a KO win to Alessandro Gatti, where he won the EBU middleweight world title. Then he defended that title against formerly undefeated Andrew Facialenti. Sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly. Then he also has a TKO win against the undefeated Artem Karpets at the time. And on DAZN, about a year ago on October 5th on Triple G's versus Derevyanchenko undercard. He beat Oscar Cortez by KO as well in the second round. And in that Cortez fight, he seemingly hit Cortez with an overhand right. Then Cortez tried to fake that it was behind the head, but it really wasn't. And he got the second round stoppage win. But in my opinion, I just don't think Szeremeta is really too much for Triple G. I think Triple G will easily be able to manhandle him, pressure him, and stop him between the 6th and 7th rounds. Even though some people are like, we've never seen Szeremeta fight. How would we know how he takes a punch? How would we know how he does against a top guy? But I just, from seeing his fights, he just doesn't look like too much of a challenge. And I think Triple G, as I said before, will get him out between the 6th and 7th rounds. So overall, my prediction is that Triple G would get his 41st win and definitely bounce back from that, in my opinion, lackluster Derevyanchenko performance and defend his IBF middleweight world title and look good. And as I said before, get his 41st win and in spectacular fashion. So overall, I think it will be in the 6th and 7th rounds where Triple G gets a KO. I don't think Kamil Szeremeta will be too much of a threat, especially with his power. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.